Hey there, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It's time to have a look and see what is going on with your monthly astrology for December 2021. And just a quick heads up, while I will be touching on the topics of Venus retrograde and Jupiter retrograde here, I have recently also put up two larger videos going into greater depth on both topics, and you can find those by following the links in the down bar below, or just going to my main channel page and looking at the Major Astrology Shifts playlist. It's all there front and center. Don't forget, if you want to get a session with me, you can go to my website, integrativemysticism.com, and leave a like, share, and subscribe. You know, engagement helps this channel out a lot. So speaking of Venus retrograde, we might as well start with Venus. What is going on with Venus this month, right? The planet of favor, popularity, love, and affection. Now, Venus isn't retrograde all month. Venus is actually direct for the first 3 weeks or so. And so from the 1st through the 19th, we've got Venus in your 9th house of higher education, government and legal proceedings, travel, culture, spirituality, your reach, really drawing in, magnetizing to you a lot of favors, a lot of new friends, and a lot of strong connections to help lift you up into brand new territories to call home for yourself, be they social territories, maybe they're territories of recreation, education, or even drawing in stronger spiritual connections, both personal connections as well as just connections that will help empower and amplify your own applied metaphysical arts. With Venus in the 9th house, this is a great time, at least in the first half of the month, to be considering putting yourself out there, right? Putting maybe some marketing campaigns on the roster, maybe boosting your name, boosting your website, boosting awareness of you and what you do. This is also a time where a lot of planning for maybe some pleasure trips and adventures would be well supported. And you may be also noticing that you are attracting a lot of love in foreign ways and from types that ultimately are not your normal types that you're not known for normally being attracted to or developing a chemistry with. Now, of course, that applies to you single and available Taurus people, but for those of you who are currently coupled, your partners are also becoming a lot more adventurous. They're also becoming a lot more worldly. You may be noticing that they are becoming deeper thinkers, exploring a new path with their own spiritual practice, their own idea of culture, and even really trying to get themselves out of their bubble, and you as well. Now, once Venus goes retrograde, things, however, are taking a bit of a different turn, so we want to be careful between the 19th and the 29th, the 19th of December and the 29th of January. There could be some clashes that come up in the 9th house. With Venus retrograde in the 9th house, we see clashes of culture more than anything else. It doesn't necessarily so much hit our interpersonal relationships and romance, but culture itself. Venus retrograde keywords to keep in mind: insecurity, volatility, escapism, and immaturity. You may be finding that over the course of the next month and a half, you are needing to get closer to the cream of the crop in certain cultures or certain groups, certain networks that you're a part of, but you may be actually losing a lot of love for spaces or for collectives or groups or paths you once called home. And a lot of you may be deciding that it's time to make a big break. Just make sure you don't do anything impulsively. Okay, this is not a time to necessarily just cut and run with no discernible plan or make any kind of big commitments or big gestures using emotional reasoning. A lot of you may decide that it's time that you shifted out of a current educational or vocational focus. Some of you may be losing love for a spiritual institution or a spiritual path that you've been affiliated with. Or conversely, you may be actually feeling very, very drawn to become more committed to either a person or a path or a group that you're already connected to, but have not been able to be as actively engaged or involved with. And all of those things are perfectly fine and well, but this can create clashes with that which you would be leaving behind or growing out of. And some of you may be finding you're losing love for certain populations in your market, certain populations in your field, and there are reasons for that. And it's important to acknowledge that if you are falling out of love or burning out on a client base or a customer base or even the job you're doing or the vocation that you're in, it does need to be seen. Just don't do anything crazy about it. And again, for more info on Venus retrograde, you can check out my Venus retrograde video. We also have this, however, being cut a little bit, at least as far as December is concerned, so it's not super, super intense. We've got the sun in Sagittarius, moving into Capricorn at the third week of the month as well. And so we're taking a bit of that edge off. Remember, the sun is bringing attention, enhancement, and support to you. And so in the first half of the month, the sun is in your 8th house, shared resources, passive income, intimacy, self-generated income, and anything that could be seen as a supplement. So sales, commissions, tips, things like that. And so you are actually drawing in a lot of wealth, a lot of security your way. And once the sun moves into Capricorn, into that 9th house, you're also building stronger bonds with those that already do resonate with you on a deeply personal soul level. So you are going to get a chance to start swapping out and subbing out the unstable, the volatile, or the unsavory for those that have already shown themselves to be true blue, that are already bona fide. But just be prepared again for some cultural clashes as you make those steps. Mercury will be speeding up a lot of these transitions as well, so it's not like it's going to be dragged out. Mercury is spending the first 13 days of the month in that 8th house of shared resources, passive income, and intimacy. And so you're raking in a lot of money really fast through a lot of really easy, productive jobs. With Mercury, we tend to see small things that come in quantity that add up really, really quickly. And so you are really sitting pretty for the second half of the month. You're getting yourself very well set up. And then when Mercury goes into Capricorn, a lot of the swaps, a lot of the changes of your own commitments, a lot of the changes of your loyalty, a lot of your changes that you want to bring out when it comes to how you're marketing yourself, what career or educational path you're following, what you are falling out of, or what you are falling out of love with. It'll be much easier to navigate, but just make sure that you're not doing anything impulsively, as I already said. With Mercury in Capricorn, we're also speeding up developments when it comes to setting up new territories for you to call home or to call your kingdom, call your stomping ground. And we're also speeding up the transition into higher spaces as far as your career platform are concerned. So we want to handle this with, of course, discipline and grace, because even though there are those personal and professional cultural clashes going on, it's happening while you are stepping up in your social prominence, if you allow that to occur. The bigger trend shifters, or other big trend shifters, I should say, for the month occur with Mars and with Jupiter. So we have Mars, the planet of action, passion, energy, and obstacle clearing, in Scorpio, your 7th house of partnerships, closest one-on-one connections, boyfriend, girlfriend, BFF, business partner, husband, wife, roommate, all the people you have your closest, again, established understandings with. For a while, really knocking down a lot of walls that have been maybe blocking progress in intimacy, especially when it comes to being able to attain a new official status, however that's going to apply. Now, if you're already in a committed romantic partnership, you're already married, or maybe you're already in a committed business alliance, Mars is really going to be bringing up where the walls need to come down, what unfinished business or what obstacles we've been, not dealing with need to be dealt with right now. But as we go through December, Mars is going to be giving a lot more support towards those that are going to be tearing down those walls. This can create some clashes. Mars in the 7th house gives us an opportunity to bond, but it helps us to bond by giving us, again, issues to tackle. We can sometimes bond through a bit of stress. We can bond through a quest, bond through endeavoring, but we want to make sure that we keep this in proportion so that we do not let the work or the stress or the tribulations that we bond over, right, bonding exercise, become a source of resentment or a source of strain on the relationships we are working through and elevating with that Mars influence. For those of you who are currently single or available or maybe just looking to get into new business collaboratives, new alliances, or looking to get closer to friends, right? Build stronger companionships or stronger fellowship, Mars is also tearing down social and emotional walls around you. This is, however, going to make everybody feel a lot more raw, a lot more exposed, because those defenses, those boundaries, that armor is just not there. The pretense is not there. We are attracting people that are striving for the same things as we are, but we are going to have to be transparent with each other. It can feel a little bit uncomfortable to be so exposed, but when you are able to be completely transparent and exposed with your friends, with your partners, with your collaborators, that's where you know you have the trust, that's where you know you have the strongest loyalties, and that's where you conquer the highest mountains. And that's where a lot of the first half of this month is for you. After the 13th, we have Mars entering Sagittarius, going into that 8th house of shared resources, passive income, intimacy, self-employment money. And relationships go into a wild place. And a lot of you Taurus people are going to find that partners are very much less inhibited during this time. In fact, things could be taking a walk on the wild side, getting a bit carnal in the second half of the month. And this could be very, very nice. This could be very liberating, especially when it comes to increasing desire through experimentation and the pushing of a little bit of the limitations or maybe blocks or containments we've been in out of our way. And for those of you that are looking for new partners, new partners are also going to be bringing a lot of that energy to the table. Money is going to be going swimmingly for you throughout the course of this month, but be careful in the second half of the month with Mars in Sagittarius, Mars in the 8th house. Sometimes we can get into a bit too much of a bullish attitude, and there may be a tendency to try and push too hard. There is going to be a lot of extra money coming through that supplemental income, through your investments, through your self-employment works and enterprises. But you want to make sure you're not reinvesting or borrowing too much and, again, going too fierce, because we might not necessarily be holding on to all of our wins when we do that. It's important to know when to pull back and hold on to what you have attained, as opposed to try and keep it in circulation just for the sake of keeping it in circulation or keep the adrenaline going. Jupiter will be going into Pisces on the 29th of the month. And again, I do have a Jupiter in Pisces video already up, so check that out if you want more depth on that. And Jupiter in Pisces is actually very, very sweet on you. Jupiter's going into your 11th house of friendships, social networking, your social support system, and your biggest ideals and ambitions. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, growth, wealth, and novelty. And so we are also seeing a lot of you Taurus people becoming so much more popular, so much more connected. And not only well connected, but people are sourcing you with not only money and wealth and abundance and all of that good stuff, but you are being lifted up into a space where your community is taking on a form that seems to be going into a space that fulfills a fantasy for you, your ideal friendship circle, your ideal family circle, being able to have the camaraderie and the commitments that you truly desire. Jupiter in the 11th house does have this next year being one of a lot of recreation, a lot of adventure for you. And you may be also noticing that while it is also, because it's a big money time for you Taurus people, while it is bringing in a lot of wealth, a lot of work your way, and a lot of easy money your way, you are also getting a chance to step into a space of greater social prestige in order to achieve a major personal ambition or scratch off a few personal bucket list items. The moons of the month are also going to be big game changers. They always are. We have a solar eclipse new moon in Sagittarius on December 4th. Now, Sagittarius is your 8th house of shared resources, passive income, intimacy, self-employment, money. A new moon is always about new beginnings, even if it's a solar eclipse, and this is opening up a huge window between December 4th and March 2022 for a brand new income stream or a brand new enterprise or a brand new service that you could offer, or a brand new opportunity for you to acquire or attract or have more revenue flow into your life, flow into your home outside of a normal salary or hourly income. Some of you may also find that this is also coming through partners and spouses, but it is setting you up for a very wealthy way when it comes to how we go into the rest of 2021 and certainly 2022. A solar eclipse can also indicate a new financial collaboration, most likely something that will be connecting to a close friend or an ally or maybe a group forming around you that will also generate serious liquidity. The full moon of the month is in Gemini, in your second house of earned income, employment, your values, and your valuables. And a full moon in Gemini can indicate a big transition for you Taurus people in terms of something we are getting to drop, something we are getting to leave behind, something we are getting to abandon in this area. Now, this opens up a window that basically covers the second half of the month. A lot of you may be finding an opportunity or a reason to quit either a financial arrangement or maybe even quit a role, a service, an affiliation that you have. Some of you may actually find over the course of the second half of this month and even the first week of January that you find an opportunity that gives you a chance to quit either a role, a service, or maybe even a job for something better. You are trading out a financial or employment arrangement that you're in to step it up or to move on to bigger and better things. For some of you, this may be internal when it comes to your employer, or it may be even a new job that shows up that will enable you to move on to bigger and better things that you would quit your current circumstance for. So that is what I've got for you, Taurus. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And if you ever want to get a session with me, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.